years. What are your thoughts on that at this point?
I'm sorry, I had a hard time hearing you.
That's okay. What are your thoughts on running for re-election in 2026?
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
yes.
All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator Penny.
Yep.
Go ahead outside, sir. Come with us.
Okay. Okay.
That's Mitch McConnell having a bad day. It's Labor Day weekend on North of 48. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Or if you're wondering if Canada's still on fire, I would suggest yes. You're still on fire. From the north to the south. However, good news, New York police will use drones to monitor backyard parties this weekend. And it spurs privacy concerns, but no fear. The police have put out a statement. If a caller states there's a large crowd, a large party in the backyard, we're going to be utilizing our assets to go up and go check on the party, the commissioner said in a press conference. How many strikes happened in the US in 2022? Quite a few. There's been at least 224,000 workers involved in work stoppages, 417 strikes, 7 lockouts. And we're looking at the United Auto Workers going on strike, as well as the 18,000 auto workers in Canada. So it's going to be a heck of a September here. 60% of all workers were in work stoppages during 2022. We're in the educational services field. That's the teachers and professionals. But don't worry, Elon Musk, on his continuing conflict with Zuckerberg, and he was going to do a boxing match, but now he's from the Beaverton. We have this headline. He's going to wait for Zuckerberg to leave his house so he can knock on the door and then run. Knock a door ginger. And from climate activists from the Beaverton, they say world's climate scientists recommend having only as many children as you plan to eat. And that way you can cut down on the population. I'd like to welcome Jim Earl to the broadcast. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Good evening.
Really a pleasure to see you. Let me just get that shut off. There we go. I'm better. You're looking good, Jim. Are you getting ready for the Labor Day weekend, my friend?
Oh boy, am I. I'm gonna get my party on. I'm all stoked.
Are you stoked?
And I'm stoked and amped to get my party on. And you get outside there on that grill and just get my grill on.
You're gonna barbecue, are you?
No, I'm just gonna light up the grill. I'm not gonna put anything on it.
Okay. Nothing, no eggplant, no zucchini, no romaine.
No, I'm gonna burn some books.
Florida State righteous books.
I'm gonna burn a bunch of Bibles.
Burn a bunch of Bibles. That'll
I'm
get you a ticket in Sweden now.
I'm gonna grill them like they should have grilled Jesus up on the cross. They had half a shish kebab there, and they did. They just lost that opportunity. So many paintings, Renaissance paintings, could have been livened up had they just lit the guy on fire at night. Could have had a nice night illumination scene. Jesus up there on the cross, flames dancing around. All the imagery.
My podcast kind of appeals to older people, right? So you just probably pissed off half my audience, but that's okay. They'll forgive you.
I haven't even seen. I've tried to find the podcast on YouTube, but I looked up your name on YouTube.
Yeah, North of 48 podcast.
Oh, that's not your name. That's
That's
not
my
your
name.
legal name.
Oh, wow. I will send you a link. How about that?
Please do. I'd like to see, what else you're up to,
Right.
because I'm stalking you.
Well, actually, so Fridays I reserve for you because you've had some time and I so much appreciate it. And it's always fun to talk to you. But during the week, yes, we do 15 or 20-minute little podcasts on it seemed to be big in Germany. I don't know why, but thanks, German. And talk about
Really?
older people problems and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, staying employed at this age, prepping
Martha
for
and
your
I
colonoscopy.
Martha and I ran into a nice German fellow in Massachusetts at a
In
cemetery.
Massachusetts. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he cleans and restores old cemetery to stones.
Well, that is just what do you think of that?
Well,
It's
I think,
nice that he does that, right?
yeah, and he'll never be out of work.
It's true. That's true.
Never be. Seriously, no, he was there. He was there. He
Are
helped.
you getting ideas for your next book? Is this what you're doing, going to these cemeteries?
He helped Martha and I find my great 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 grandmother at the old forefathers burial ground in Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
Wow.
She has the second oldest stone there,
Right. Should
and
get it looked after.
also she's got a grave marker that's pretty old too.
Okay.
But yeah, 1692 she was buried there.
1692.
Yes, 1692.
Before the great country of the USA was a country.
That's right.
Wow. And where did they come from?
They came from Puritan hell. That's where they came from. That's where they came. I don't know where they came from. England.
Okay.
They probably stayed in Amsterdam or Holland for maybe a year, like most of the so-called Puritans did, and before they were thrown out for being annoying.
Right.
And then they sailed over here to do all sorts of horrible things.
Right.
Dress strictly.
They had a great big Thanksgiving, I'll tell you that.
They sure did. They ate a lot of people.
Yeah.
They ate the servants. They ate their servants because they didn't have any rights. And
well, they're lean meat, right? So
that's right. Everybody lean but stringy.
Right. You didn't need that pill to lose weight. Ozempic or something like that.
Oh, Ozempic.
Yeah. So when are you coming out with your new book, Jim? Are you in the are you in the passions of writing it right now, my friend?
I have so much stuff to do. I can't. I don't have time to do anything. Martha couldn't make it tonight. She may stop in for a second because she just all of her tomatoes came to fruition. And
right.
She has to make tomato sauce right away before they spoil.
Well, no, you should do that. Fresh is best. Make that tomato sauce. That's right. I just did some too as well. So
yeah.
See, I'm not only a black thumb, a green thumb.
Well, I'd like to see proof of that. Otherwise, you're just deceiving everybody in this podcast.
No. I make my own tomato sauce. I do. It's very good. Hey, Jim.
I don't believe it. Oh, go ahead. What?
Well, we were talking. I don't know if you want to talk about it today, but you had some folks involved in North Korea or in Korea.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't want to bore anybody with the old war stories.
I don't think it would be boring. I have a Korean story. My dad joined the Canadian Army, and he was going to be shipped over to Korea, and then the doctor looked at him and said, you got flat feet. So if you don't want to do this, I can let you out. And
Yeah.
he said, okay, I got flat feet. I ain't going.
Good for him.
So he left.
Good for him.
You know, it was a time when they needed jobs too, right? And the army was a good place to have a job and learn some stuff.
You know, I joined the Swiss Army, and it wasn't everything that was all hyped up to be. I went over there. I, spent 3 years in an Asian land war. Nobody wanted. When I got back, there were no parades. All we got was that knife with the tweezers and the plastic toothpick.
Aren't the Swiss Army people the guys who guard Pope? Or am I got that wrong? I probably have that wrong. Isn't that the Vatican?
I think you're right.
They have some.
Yeah, somebody's got to guard him.
Yeah.
He's carrying a lot of jewelry.
Well, would you mind talking a little bit about Korea tonight, or?
Well, my story is that my 2 oldest brothers are stepbrothers, and they were married. They are the children of my mother's first husband, who she met in Great Bend, Kansas, where they were training B-29 Superfortress pilots.
Great Bend, Kansas?
Great Bend, Kansas. It's in the center of Kansas.
What an awesome name.
Well, it's right on the Great Bend of the Arkansas River. It's right on the tip there, near the Santa Fe Trail.
Right.
River Trail. Teepees.
I didn't mean to stop you and your soliloquy here. Tell us about Great Bend.
Well,
and the fortresses.
Well, they met, and they while he was training there, and my father, my biological father, was his best friend. And they were training together there in the Air Force, Army Air Corps. So they both go off to war and bomb Japan, like 30, 40 missions. My dad comes back after 3 bailouts, crash landings, and losing half of his crew. So that's crew was like 12 people. So 6 died in one of the crashes. He had to bail out over China. He was missing in action for about 2 weeks. So he came back, and my mother's first husband, he came back as well, but they settled down on my mother's farm, his parents' farm, and he tried to farming there for a few years and didn't like it. And so he eventually was called back into the Air Force.
Oh my.
Yeah, he pretty much forced back into the Air Force during the Korean War. And he was a pilot, and he flew a bunch of missions over North Korea. And then one night, while they were coming back from a bombing mission, he was shot down. Everybody else bailed out, but he went down with the ship, and he's still there on a hillside and near Phnom Penh, I think. Where the hell is it? Near the capital somewhere. Then my mom married my dad and had me and my biological brother. Long story short, she spent the rest of her life trying to figure out what happened because the Pentagon wouldn't release information, and it took until the last years of her life to even get heavily redacted information on where he was and what happened to him, and if they could ever recover his body, which is still a mystery. And my dad, when I was little, would show me pictures of what happened to his squadron in World War II. And he said he reminded me over and over and over again that anybody who puts on a uniform is asking for trouble and should never do it. And that it was a huge waste of human life on both sides, obviously. But the American military is a horrible organization and should not be, you should not take part in it, basically, is what he taught me. And so I have never been in the military, never put on a uniform, never had a Boy Scouts uniform, although I did dress up in dresses for a few years. But that's another story. But that's what happened. That's what Korea was about in my family. And I don't think my mom ever got over it, to tell you the truth.
So this has affected your view of the military ever since, obviously, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That and other things, probably. But
that and other things, you know, I see the same pattern in Vietnam, Ukraine, and Iraq, Afghanistan. It's
well, there sure is a military industrial complex, is there not? The munitions factories, the bombs, the people,
yes,
all the submarines, the missiles. However, would a volunteer army be okay in your view? Instead of the
I don't know. I think
you're just grateful not to. You'd be like Switzerland then, right? Like you brought up. Do they have a military? Probably, but
I don't know. I don't think so. They're supposed to be neutral, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true. And Canadians are supposed to be peacekeepers, but
yeah,
that's how we
well, we have
military.
the biggest military in the world, and
you do.
Yeah, I don't think it's done the world any good.
Well, it's filled up some people's pockets.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest. Do you got you're a little bit older than myself. Do you got more memories of Vietnam? Did that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Was that that must have entered into your thinking too, right?
Well, yes. Well, my parents would look at the news and of the fighting and everything in Vietnam and shake their head and say, "Fuck this!" Basically, that's what they say. They listen to LBJ. You know, every other week he would have an announcement. He's sending 20,000 more troops in.
Yes.
And my mom ended up hating the Democratic Party and LBJ for that, even though they were both my parents were big fans of what he did with civil rights and that, and they hated Richard Nixon even more, and then Ronald Reagan after that even more.
Right. Did any of your brothers were they older than you? Did they get involved in the lottery? Did they get their number?
Yeah, 3 older brothers. Yeah, all 3 had numbers in the lottery, and one came pretty close to going. My mom always said that she would drive us to Canada, to avoid the draft if we were drafted.
Come on up.
Drafted. So,
wow.
Yeah, our next door neighbor. I used to go over across the street, and when I was 5 or 6, and we'd have a lot of fun over there. And but his oldest brother would come back from Vietnam every 6 months or so with fun things like girly mags and firecrackers. And then a few years later, he took an M1 and held his family at gunpoint
Oh my
in the
God.
living room for a few hours. And
How
that's
did
the
that,
last I heard of him.
how did that resolve? He didn't shoot him, did he?
No, he didn't. I think, I don't know what happened to him after that. But it wasn't a good thing. There was a lot of great music in the 60s, but
Yes, yeah. A lot of
that
great
kind of
protests
stuff.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the Kent State thing. That is such a government thing. It was actually the government who started shooting at these kids. At Kent State.
Well, they were yelling at them, they felt their life
They were
was
shaking
threatened.
their fist in the air, so you had to shoot them, right? I mean, that I don't understand that. How these guys would even think of shooting these college students.
Well, I get pretty angry when I see some kid holding up James Joyce or something like that. Pretty irritating. So I can understand how the National Guard might react like that.
Right. So can you and I settle on the fact that Tom Cruise is underrated performer, like his Vietnam movie? That was actually pretty good.
Tom Cruise, he had a Vietnam movie? I'm
Yeah.
way out of the loop. I'm out of the loop, the Hollywood show business loop.
Born on the 4th of July, Jim?
Oh, yeah, okay. I haven't seen that.
Doesn't it ring a bell?
It does, but I haven't seen that in a while.
Oh, okay. Right.
Is that the one where he travels around with his, little brother?
No.
And takes him to
No,
Las Vegas?
No. As John says, this is the Oliver Stone movie. And I think it won a few awards, my friend. And when you're making a movie, it's all about the awards. If you don't get an award, it's not a good movie, right?
It's shit.
It's like
I'm sorry.
It's like winning an Emmy for your writing, right?
That's
Emmy,
right.
Emmy award winner, Jim.
It's completely meaningless. It didn't get me any jobs. I can tell you that.
Oh, okay. Well, I ain't got a writer either. You notice that, eh? So it's all good. But okay, the Gulf War comes up, and you what did you think of the first one with George Bush Sr.?
I think the first one was better than the sequel. The sequel just had a lot of. I don't know where I'm going with this crappy
That's
joke.
actually good. The sequel sure bombed.
I like the book better than the movie.
And so we seem to be stuck in forever wars, Jim. The UN doesn't seem to have any teeth to stop these wars.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Our military is the biggest polluting entity on Earth, and forever wars create pollution, and they destabilize the economies and destroy the environment, and they cut international trade, economies collapse, disease happens, and then combine that with maybe a natural disaster, earthquakes or a volcano or anything like that, and boom, the Minoan civilization is gone.
Do you ever get comments about the way you characterize the Sumerians and Aristotle and how you use their words against them? Does anybody ever criticize you for that? They must get extremely ticked off. Or the Etruscans.
My dad pissed off a lot. He was a horrible racist. When I say horrible, I mean he just wasn't very good at it. He was always screaming things like "goddamn Syro-Hittites," "lousy stinking Etruscans." I say to my dad, these are dead cultures, Dad. You're out of touch.
Fair enough. So your government has said to everybody in Haiti right now, get the heck out. Something happened.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I read it today.
Why?
I'm
'Cause-
not sure. Hurricane Clinton, I mean Hillary, maybe, or she's not involved in Haiti any longer. So there's something going down in Haiti.
There's another hurricane.
Yeah, I think it's a hurricane, a military revolution there.
Oh.
And Haiti is hard done by, and that should be one of the most prosperous countries around with their nice seasonal weather and their hardworking people, right?
I don't know anything about Haiti.
Okay,
I don't even know how to spell it.
right. I think you could almost write an obituary on the UN in your next book.
You know, one of the people on my mom's first husband's B-29, who one of the part of the crew was a member of the UN, became a big wig at the UN later in life.
Okay.
And he was African American, the only African American on probably in the whole squadron.
Mhm.
And I don't think he was treated very well at times because of that. But that was in the early 50s. So
Have we changed?
not much has changed.
No, probably not.
Not much has changed.
No, that's right.
What's it like in Canada, eh?
Oh, we were warm today. I think 80, 85 Fahrenheit. And but the nights get colder. So that's nice. We're still getting smoke from the fire. So we're hoping for snow soon. At least up north, stop the fires.
Are you going to have mudslides
Oh yeah.
because of?
Yes. Yes, that is going to happen. There'll be a terrific rain, and down south is pretty dry too. With we're in drought conditions, right? So I'd say my area is spared of that. We've had quite a bit of rain lately, so that helps. The weather is nice,
Well, I think Canada should start paving over all of its burned out areas in the forests.
What result?
Well, then you wouldn't have any mudslides. All that water would just sheen off of the asphalt and go into a big culvert.
Well, would
down,
this culvert run down to the United States?
down through the Mississippi.
There's been some talk for a long time down to the Columbia, through Colorado. Take some of that good, clean drinking water, so Nestle's can bottle it down south.
They can funnel out through
you can pay $1. Did you know at Costco it's 25 cents a bottle for good Costco bottled water?
No, I didn't.
That is amazing.
How do they do it?
I have no idea. Their hot dogs are still $1 something, so I think $1.53 with tax.
Yeah, that's a great price for a tube of meat glue.
It's
and
beef, supposedly beef sausage.
Insect parts and rat snouts.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, what is on what is your favorite vegetarian dish, Jim? Notice I'm reaching here, eh? But what is your favorite vegetarian dish?
I love Ethiopian food.
Oh, Ethiopian.
So
lots of rice.
vegetarian combination. Ethiopian restaurants are incredible. I love them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
but I don't know how to make them.
Oh,
So I wish I could.
so what is it? Uber Eats for you then, or what? If you
No. Martha and I make a lot of
stuff. Yeah.
dishes here. She makes her own spaghetti sauce, and
Mhm.
we have lots of pizzas, pasta, and I just made a bunch of tomatillo salsa yesterday.
Do you make cauliflower crust pizza at all? Using cauliflower?
No, I've
Oh.
never heard of that.
Yeah, Michelle's son makes that. using cauliflower. I don't know if it's powder. You can get it at Costco as the base of the pizza for a crust.
You know, they're putting the first Costco ever here in Portland, Maine. In the whole state, only Costco.
Maine doesn't have a Costco.
No, it doesn't.
Whoa.
No.
What politician died that Costco can finally come in now?
I don't know.
The guy who
I
owned
don't know.
Kroger's probably. No, I don't know if you have a Kroger's, but
We're controlled by Hannaford's. It's a multinational billion-dollar company
Mhm.
out of Holland, I believe.
Well, what is the weather like right now in Maine, Jim?
Stinks of cigarette smoke because the neighbors are smoking outdoors again.
There are no smokers, eh? Outdoors though.
Yeah, outdoors, but you know, it's like having a smoking section on an airline. It's just the smoke goes around the buildings into everybody's windows, but they don't care about that. They don't care.
Hmm.
You know why?
Why?
Because they're really good, thoughtful people.
Well, you know what happened to us yesterday was my dog was chasing a cat, and I opened the door to see what the commotion was, and the cat came flying in. It was like it was running on the side of the house. It jumped, hit my shoulder, went into the boot rack, which there's an opening to get into the rafters, the joists underneath the house, and it stayed there overnight. Couldn't get it out. So we got a cat cage today, put some cat food in it, got the cage, and then did a release, a cat release out in the front yard. And it zipped across the road. And then 5 minutes later, a truck comes by. So luckily we timed it just right. So that's what happened to me. That was my excitement.
You know what to get your cat out from underneath the house real quick?
How?
Raccoons.
How do you get the raccoon out?
Raccoons never come out.
Yeah.
They're,
No,
they're your
don't.
friends for life.
Yeah.
Feed them eggs and corn cobs.
Eggs and corn cobs. Okay. We
And
got
heirloom babies.
we have a skunk out in the alley, like a real skunk. And it surprised me, but I don't know if it's the drought or whatever. They're coming more in the city now. So I thought it was somebody smoking marijuana, but no, it was a skunk because I seen it.
You have coyotes too?
Yes. Coyotes or coyotes. Yes. Yes, we do.
Coyotes?
Yeah. And deer,
Deer, yeah.
mooses.
We have meerkats.
You do not. Okay.
No, we have cat.
What is a meerkat?
Meerkat is this weird looking animal that has a shriek like somebody's strangling your grandmother in the middle of the forest, and a eerie shriek. And
Eerie shriek.
yeah, Martha can. Martha, come up and do a meerkat, will you? Is it a meerkat? Well, you don't have to yell. Sorry. Is a what? Fisher cats. We have fisher cats.
Fisher cats.
Just a fisher.
Will you do the call? Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We can edit that out. Anything? Oh, any news on the actress strike or the writer strike or anything?
No, the studios are doing what they always do. They're pretending to want to talk, and then they everybody gets in this room, and then they push the same BS that they did on day one of the strike, which is practically no concessions, nothing.
Well, the auto workers, the UAW president, he said that the big three car companies are dragging their feet because he gave them till the 14th of September to come to an agreement, and then there will be a strike. And he said they're dragging their feet. And they've put in a labor rules violation against the big three. So we'll see how fast the government acts.
You know, that's
Right.
how Fred Flintstone stops his car, by dragging his feet. Thank you. Good night.
Tip your waiter, he's here all week. Do any of you guys have some questions for Jim?
And keep it clean.
And keep it clean? Oh, you've chased off Rick. No, Rick went to work. That's right. Family show.
People work?
Yes. Yes, they do. How's your health? Your health okay?
As far as I know, you know, I'm looking pretty good for a 20-year-old, right?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. John, you have a question, my friend?
Yes, Jim, vegan here, as you probably know. What's your history of where you've lived in what states or whatever?
And then somebody's going to call me up later on tonight and ask me for the last 4 digits of my social security number. I'm not falling for that.
Well, what's your mother's maiden name? At least tell me that.
Oh, that. You. No, why do you ask?
I'm just curious. I know you were in LA at some point, and weren't you? I don't know. Did you grow up in California? That's
Yeah,
where
I grew up in Los Angeles County, in
Yeah.
a college town, and I've lived in Berkeley, San Francisco, New York, Brooklyn, and I think that's it.
in Maine, I assume.
And now Maine. Yes,
Yeah, I
that's
was
right.
born in LA County,
Yeah, what part?
Long Beach, college
Oh.
town, I guess you could say. Cal State Long Beach. Not exactly a big university, but hey, a lot of people.
Yeah, Claremont. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
Were you a
Thank you.
surfer, Jim? Or is LA
No,
far from the ocean?
No, it's about 40 minutes away from anything. The mountains, skiing.
Well, nowadays
Deserts.
it'd probably take about 2 hours from Claremont to get to the beach, but that's only because traffic's gotten much worse over the years. But
Well, they got the subway. Goes from Claremont all the way to the beach, Santa Monica now.
oh yeah, you do have to make a couple of changes, but yeah, that's true.
It's miraculous.
Hey, as somebody who grew up in LA, I never learned to surf, but I learned how to ski, oddly.
Yeah, I learned how to ski when I was little, but body surfing, or the little boards, is what is more fun for me out there on the surf, on the waves.
Those boogie boards, something like that.
Yes, that's what they're called.
Styrofoam.
Boogie boards. Martha Previte, do you have a question? Oh, you have a green yes check on your. She doesn't know how to get rid of that.
Oh. Well,
Penicillin.
I could probably take care of that. No, we can. Oh, she's got an X there. No. So no question from Martha. Martha's being very shy today making that tomato. Must got paste all over her. And that's as far as I'm going there. So I'm not going nowhere else.
Told you to keep it clean.
I know.
I can hear you talking about me.
That's technology. Yeah, I'm not. I've had actually a quiet week and stuff. So I tried to prepare for the show today more, but I couldn't. Everything, I had a cat in the house, right? So in the rafters, Jim.
So it's not your cat. It's
No,
just
it
a
was the neighbor's
oh.
cat. Yes,
Oh,
right.
so you don't strangle cats or anything
not.
like that.
I do not. My grandfather did though. Baby cats.
Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of like a national pastime up in Canada.
Well, and yeah, he's from Denmark, so at least he didn't need them. How about that? He once
Where was your mother? Where was your mother from?
Denmark.
Oh,
I'm not telling you her maiden name either. So so my grandfather did the divorced woman next door to him asked him for a chicken. So he put one in a bag and brought it to her, and she was expecting it to be all plucked and everything and dead. No. He giggled and told that story for years. So gave her a live chicken. These old Danes, eh?
that's a great story.
The way he told it is. It'd take about 15 minutes to get through it. So
Yeah.
yeah. Tell you what she was wearing too. Right. But okay, so no action news, no obituary news, which is good, I guess.
Oh, Joe the plumber died.
Yes. What are your thoughts on that, Joe? Who's Trump going to get next?
It's a good question. I'll have to write that. I'll have to think about it. I haven't written an obituary in too long.
Right.
I got to do it again.
Joe the plumber died. I mean, that's national. Are they gonna put him, bury him? What's your Arlington? Right?
Arlington.
Yeah.
In Arlington in the pool strainer.
That's
I
right.
don't know.
So what's your week hold for you, Jim? Any idea?
Well, the week, it's at the end of the week now.
Right.
I have no concept of time.
Oh, okay. Labor Day weekend.
Going to try to stay away from people.
That's always a good thing, I think.
Hopefully, before the snow starts, Martha and I can make it back to a few cemeteries, take her to meet some more of my family.
You have to go to Barkerville.
Nicest places.
What's that about Barkerville?
You have to go to Barkerville because they have graves from the 1800s there. And it's in northern BC, and it's quite easy to get to. It's where the gold people from San Francisco went for the part of the gold rush. It's up in Barkerville.
Oh.
Yeah. And then they went up.
Is that near the Klondike?
No, actually it isn't. That's why it's so easy to get to. It's one of the stages on the Gold Rush Trail. And they have actors there in the houses, and they have the old houses built or rebuilt. And they have a theater production, and they have a court with a British magistrate. It's quite fascinating, but they have old cemeteries.
Well, I've just been, I've been tracing my genealogy, and I found out that I have a whole crap buttload of ancestors from the 17th century just littering graveyards up and down Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, Maine, northern Maine.
Right.
So I thought it'd be fun to go see them,
I think
and berate them for making bad decisions. Right. I want to berate them for making bad life decisions.
Yeah, because that was one of the things I did when I went to Denmark. We went to the old cemeteries and where the family relations were, right? And they're only allowed to be there for like 100 years or something, or 99 years. And then they take the tombstones off. So quite a few of the tombstones with my family members were like up against the railing or the fence that they had pulled off. And
Really?
yeah, I almost thought, geez, if I could buy these and then ship them to Canada, but that would have been an immense expense.
So they don't display them in a respectful way at all or anything? They just lay them.
They do till it's time to remove them off the cemetery because other people die and they reuse the same plot.
So what do they throw them away?
Apparently.
Oh, that's idiotic. I mean, it's historical. I mean, it's an interesting
it is.
thing.
It's very interesting, yes. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if you could pay the well, same here in Canada. I think in Quebec you got 99 years and then you got to pay to get another 99 years. So your family members have to pay ahead of time on a Catholic church ground.
Well, here they got a very nice a German man who now lives here, who goes from cemetery to cemetery, restoring and cleaning off the stones and resetting them.
Is that the German guy?
You're a German guy. His name is Kai Noland.
Kai. Kai is a Danish name, but go ahead.
Oh, Jesus, you and your. Anyway, yes, Kai, and he makes I guess he makes a good living going from cemetery to cemetery because people are dying left and right, and a whole bunch of people died in the 17th century. A lot of them.
Yeah, probably all of them. I'm just going to say that. Throw that out there. The in-laws, they want to get cremated and be put into a coffee can, and then their ashes mixed together is their burial plan.
Oh, well, I want to be filled with nitrogen and dumped in a river and then just float down the Mississippi, maybe.
Would Martha float on top of you with a paddle?
That would be funny and instructive to the youth of America. It's a good memento mori, as they call it.
Right.
Beware, for one day this will happen to you. Your bloated body will be pumped full of nitrogen, and you will be floated down a big river with someone on top of you.
I'm thinking about that. I don't find that appealing, to be honest.
Oh, it's pretty funny looking.
What's wrong going in a boat and having it burn?
With other people in it? Okay.
Wow, that's true. Okay, Jim. Anything else on your mind tonight? Or I'm being pretty casual tonight, so.
That's all I have to. That's all I've been thinking about for years. In fact, I have nothing left to say after this episode.
If you're with nitrogen, wouldn't you sink?
No, that's
Helium, I think you would float.
Costco puts nitrogen in their tires.
Yes, you are correct. Yes,
they claim it keeps the inflation levels steady, and there no leaks.
Right.
So, pump your dead body full of nitrogen. You won't leak. You'll never deflate.
Put your book of obituaries in your arms and float down the river, and then we all go. See you, Jim. Or
you could pump your dead body full of hydrogen, and somebody could light you on fire with a Bible and have you explode in the town square.
I think we'll probably end it there, Jim.
Good idea.
Well, Jim, thank you. And I hope Martha's sauce is a success. I'm sure it will be. And that's from your homegrown tomatoes, right? Or did you buy some from the market?
No, homegrown.
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 Them's the best. You got 3 days to eat them.
Hey,
To get all the vitamins, the good vitamins. But if you can them, you're good for a while. Jim, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I appreciate it.
I hope it's been instructive.
I'm going to think about that nitrogen. I'm going to Google that actually. Can you put nitrogen in a body? And I somehow doubt it, because the thing with people is they have holes. So I'm pretty sure it'll leak out.
Got to plug the holes.
They have 7 holes apparently.
Plug the holes like an Egyptian.
Right. I seen that movie with the raccoon, Galaxies, whatever. And no, I didn't. I seen Ant-Man, and they said you have 7 holes. So I'm not going to count. So I'll leave that to other people who are smarter than me, which is quite a few actually, to be honest. Jim.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank
And
you.
as they say in Korea, thank you for your hard work. 감사합니다.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Everybody say good night to Jim.
Good night, Jim.
Good night, Jim.
Appreciate it.
Good night, Ned.
Good night. Thank you very much. And thank you all for your hard work.